Hi, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful week and you're ready for another talk. This week, we talk about something that affects travelers around the world, and I'm obviously talking about jet lag. So, stick around. Let's talk. And today, we talk about jet lag. Jet lag is one of those things nobody likes and everyone talks about, obviously, everyone that travels and affects tourists and travelers around the world every day. Obviously, not as much now with the current situation, but still. Um, and a lot of people try to find strategies to fight jet lag and to minimize the detrimental effects that it has on us. Well, I must admit, I really never felt affected by jet lag because since my very first trip, I did my research and I tried to minimize it as much as I could. As I mentioned on my first video of this new series in this blog, of vlog. I I used to be very scared of flying. I didn't really like planes, and out of a sudden I decided, well, not out of a sudden. I had this plan for a very long time, but out of a sudden I decided to buy a ticket and come to Australia on holidays. This was in 2003, and before even buying the ticket, I study everything. I study where I would stay in Australia, etc., etc. And jet lag and its effects on people were one of the things that I read about, and I tried to get myself a strategy to somehow minimize it. And I must admit, I've been successful. I cannot say that I had a time that I was truly affected by jet lag. In fact, and this is curious, I feel more affected with daylight savings in Sydney and waking up at 6:30 a.m. in Sydney during summer rather than flying from Sydney to Portugal, for example, or from Portugal to Sydney. So, and this is true, and I really feel affected by it's a jet lag like effect. Um, well, what's jet lag? Well, jet lag is a mechanism that we have, like a defense mechanism that your brain has of adjusting to different time zones. Obviously, we are not naturally prepared to be in different time zones because as animals we were supposed to live in just one place in the same time zone, and would be quite unlikely that we would end up on the other side of the world. But evolution and traveling allowed us to go from one side to the other of the planet in just a few hours. Well, not as few, but in some hours. Um, and with that came jet lag, which is our brain trying to adjust to a different time zone. And some people are really affected by it. Other people, like myself, do not really feel the effects of it. Usually you feel tired, you feel sleepy, especially on your on original time or where the country where you're based. When it's nighttime in that place, that's when you feel most tired, headaches, etc., etc., because your brain is still in the old time, and therefore you are still tired even though you may be in the middle of the day. But this is my strategy. This is not anything bulletproof or anything. This is just my strategy from the beginning. Since the very start of my traveling life, I always try, first of all, and I know this is hard, I try to have a good night's sleep before I travel. I know you are excited. I know you are really looking forward to the trip, etc., etc. But it's really important that you really have a good night's sleep before you travel. And then, for example, if you are gonna go on a very long haul flight, such as Lisbon, Sydney, or Sydney, Lisbon, um, try to sleep as much as you can in the flight. Some people have another strategy, which is doing the nights of the destination they are going to. It's trickier because they may conflict with flight changes or meals in flight, and that may jeopardize a bit their strategies. So I realized that straight away. I had that in mind in my first trip to Australia in 2003. But soon enough, I realized it wouldn't be the best strategy because it would conflict with flight changes, it would conflict with the meals inside the plane, and therefore it would jeopardize the whole outcome. So, what I do is I sleep as much as I can during the flights. For example, from Lisbon to London, which I usually fly with British Airways, and this was my path. I don't really sleep because usually it's during the day and it's a very short flight. It's just 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It's really short flight, so it's not feasible really. But if I'm a bit tired, I would. No problem with that. Then there's the longest whole flight, which is from London to either Bangkok or Singapore. And on that flight, I really try to sleep for the whole duration of the flight except for mealtime. When the flight attendants call me to have my meals, I have my meal and then I try to go to the toilet and all that and then sleep again until my next meal. When I get to my stopover in Asia, either Bangkok or Singapore, sometimes if you fly with other airlines, could be Kuala Lumpur or any other, or Hong Kong. Um, Obviously, I have to wake up, even though it's still the same plane. Um, I remember that in some occasions I was allowed to stay in the plane during the stopover, but I believe now they do not allow it for safety reasons. So I would have to leave the plane and come back, and then on the 7 or 8 hour flight from either Bangkok or Singapore to Sydney, I would try to do the same thing, sleep the whole duration of the flight. This usually coincides with the nighttime in Sydney because British Airways flight usually arrives very early in the morning, is one of the first flights arriving in Sydney, and therefore that will help me in this direction. That was helping me to feel really fresh because I had slept all that flight and I was basically waking up at the same time as Sydney siders. This was and has been my secret to fight the jet lag. And that's all for today. I hope you liked this conversation, and I hope I gave you a little bit of an insight about how to fight jet lag. And on your next trip, you could say that you really made it without any jet lag. But if you have other tips about how to fight jet lag, please share with us, leave your comment below. Or even if you totally disagree with my tips and you have another ones of your own that you would like to suggest, please do. Let's keep talking. I think that's the way to go. Plus, like our video, it's always good for the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe the channel so with a little click on the bell so you get a notification of another talk every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you for watching the video and wish you all a very good week. See you next week and Let's talk.